If we had a police outfit at the top that made sure that a policeman knows if I do wrong, before the law catches up with me, my own outfit, the Kenya police, will have dealt with me. Why do you think we don't get incidences of our army misbehaving? It's because the court-martial within the army structures is so effective. You will not find army men fighting civilians, doing stupid things. They are disciplined forces because they know that internally, the mechanism of dealing with an errant army officer is so strong, so robust, so well oiled, and it comes and it is effective in discipline. IG Kanja, DIG Langat, you people have failed. Come with a hammer. Stamp your authority over your forces. Unajua inakuwa, for example, wengine wanatumagwa kiganjo for retraining.
Hey there and welcome to Fanya Mambo Africa. Super excited for another week, means we have another episode. And of course, some of you have been asking where Fanya Mambo has disappeared to. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
People have been asking where you disappeared to.
I'm happy that they are asking, but I've been around, just doing the Lord's work on different spaces and angles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Now, today we have a very interesting episode from where I sit, and we will start with, as we do this show today, the president has appointed judges. What is your feeling about the list?
I don't want to say much about the list. As we speak, they've already been appointed.
Yes.
We can't go back on the appointments. All I'm going to do is to speak to those judges and tell them that you've been called to a very high office, and that office is for Kenyans. It's not for the head of state. He may have played a part in the chain of appointment, and he was the last man at the end of the appointing line. But remember, the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal, and these are Court of Appeal judges, yes, play a very important role when we have election petitions, and especially presidential ones. We beseech you in the name of God to put republic before people and to know that you are there for the sake of the republic, not because of the appointing authority. So you hold those offices in trust. And at the end of your term, God will ask you, you had an opportunity to be a judge at the Court of Appeal. What did you do for Kenyans? How did you serve? Were you a righteous judge? Did you do the right thing? So now that you are there, I don't want to start speaking character assassination. For some of them, we have a lot of reservations as to whom they are and what their personalities are and what their characters are. But now that they already hold office, we beseech them to put Kenyans first.
Put Kenya first.
Yes.
All right. Very interesting perspective, and list for that matter from my perspective. I mean, it's interesting to see some of the names. Not that I have any questions around them, but
to be honest, their names I do not want to mention, but Kenyans know. We've interacted with them. We know their history. We know what they've done. We know where they stand. We know what they have been called, what has been said against them. But sometimes when people are going through such processes, they become very spiritual. Some of them even really pray. They go into a period of even fasting and telling God, if you give me this appointment. Have you ever waited for something so badly in your life? Because in the career progression of anybody in the space of law, and anybody who's been a magistrate, then a judge, and then a high court, and then Supreme Court, and, as you go all the way up, I know some of them really prayed. I hope that the prayers they made converted them. And I pray that this time round, at the very center of everything, will be Kenyans and the will of the people and the preservation of the Constitution.
All right. We wish them the very best in their endeavors and in their service to the country, because, of course, country comes first. Now, as we start off the year, January has been alive Kenya with politics. And it's interesting, you'd think we have elections coming soon, but we have a whole year and a few months. And to start off, over the weekend, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua was attacked in a church in Nyeri, Othaya to be particular. And some of these people that were attacking were actually the police, or so looked like the police. Why is this happening, and how did we get here that we have police using, because we call them police because they had the police cars available, and we can even see a video of them shooting at cars. How did we get here that uniformed men who are supposed to protect the people are now attacking the people, because this was an attack in church?
Many things. One, I think this administration has a problem with prayers. They hate people who pray.
But they pray.
And they hate us when we go to church. If they wanted to attack Rigathi Gachagua, they know where he lives. They always, I don't know what is with this addiction. Rigathi Gachagua has now got 11 reported cases of attacks in churches. In fact, 10 in churches. The 11th one was at a burial. Karibu wangushe sanduku Limuru, if you remember.
Yes, yes.
And that was the first one they started with. After that, there has been Kayole, there has been Kariobangi, there has been 11 in total reported. And the state has done nothing. I want us to ask ourselves, if it was William Ruto in that church, and tear gas was lobbed into the church, and guns were being shot within the church compound, and people had come and they were spraying the presidential motorcade with bullets, where would we be as a country? They keep saying stupid things that don't make sense. They tell us that Rigathi Gachagua organized an attack upon himself. So I asked them, because ile supermarket kubwa huko ni Magunas, walienda wakanunua tear gas Magunas supermarket. Is that where it's sold? AK-47s, where did we buy them? At the market in Othaya? You know, we saw seriously armed men. Mpaka ile kitu ya kulob tear gas, the huge gun. Where did we get those weapons? And by the way, we are cheerfully submitting ourselves as members of opposition. Kama ni sisi tulicause your violence, tushikwe. How can we have 11 attacks in churches and no single arrest? If you are saying it is the opposition, the government would have been so happy to arrest us. Now we've been given the names of the Matatu circle that brought those goons. We have seen the GK number plate of the police Mahindra pickup that was used. We have seen everything. What have they done about it? They are blaming the opposition for government coming and doing the things that they did. And we say it confidently. The Matatu tried to deny Kenyans are not idiots. We went online, we did a search, and we know where the Matatu belongs to. The SACCO is guilty. They come and say that these are not police vehicles. We ask, sisi kama opposition, tulitoa wapi Mahindra tukapaka rangi ya police? And if we did, then arrest us. You can't come and say that the opposition is attacking itself, and then we are using police vehicles to attack ourselves. Hiyo Mahindra tunataka kujua kama kuna OB merekodiwa hiyo Mahindra ilibiwa police station gani. It is a terrible space to be. But also think about the children. Why did we have to lob tear gas into a church where children were? At some point, I saw one man kneeling down and aiming inside the church and shooting. We saw the destruction that was done. Why were they shooting at windscreens? They were thinking that the people are there. They wanted to kill the people who were occupying those vehicles. They deflated the tires. So what did those vehicles do to them? What crime have vehicles committed against the state? So we are just saying that we have a dictatorial regime that is terrible, that is unfit to govern this country. I don't know what it is Kenyans are waiting for. For a long time, I used to say bad things about President William Ruto. I stopped. Now I address his supporters. I have gotten to a place where I have given up speaking about William Ruto. Now I worry about this. I ask them, yani bad wa unasema tutam. You see children crying in a church because policemen came with, do you know the sound of an AK-47? The sheer sound that comes from an AK-47 makes you tremble as an adult in fear. Now, children have gone to a place that has been the safest for them on Sunday, because hiyo ndio place wanavanga Sunday best. And then the AK-47, the gun is blazing, not once, not twice, not thrice. Bang, 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 several times. And with each bang, it causes tremor in the hearts of these children. And the state doesn't care. In fact, the men and women who are accused of having been the perpetrators of this, we see them in State House the following way, fully adorned in UDA clothes and sitting next to the head of state.
But let me ask, at what point, because as per the Constitution, the police are to protect. They even take an oath of office of protecting. And even per the Constitution, orders of the police come from the IG, right?
Yes.
Do you think it is the IG who gave those orders?
For us right now, we are not concerned about who gave those orders. What we are concerned about is the lack of morality in human beings. Because anybody who even accepts a bad order is themselves a terrible person. If you're a policeman and you say, I have refused to go and shoot civilians in a church compound, and again ask me and let us reason together, why would a policeman wear plain clothes and mask their faces and hide their service number? The reason we entrust them with weapons is because we know their service number and it's because they're in uniform. Now, let me ask you, if the police can do that today, what will stop now goons from dressing like them and appearing in another church the following weekend and doing the same? How shall we know the difference between the police and the goons? We want our policemen to appear for duty in police uniform.
Have they lost it?
By the way, had they come and said, leo hakuna church huku, kila mtu atoke nyumbani, aende nyumbani, and they were in police uniform, I would have found that more respectable. It is an intrusion on the right to worship, the freedoms provided for us in Article 38 of our Constitution. But it is better than coming with guns. At what point does a father open fire in a compound that has got Sunday school children? What goes on in the mind of a man who lobs a tear gas canister into a Sunday school compound? Is that a human being or is that an animal? Because we have to forget about the law, forget about everything, and think about for a second. I am a father, I am lobbing a tear gas canister into a church that has got children who are doing Sunday school. Reason, Rigathi Gachagua is attending that service. It's the only reason.
So do you think our men in uniform have lost their reasoning? Because this is not the first time it's happening. And even last year when we had the protests across, there was even people who were killed. We lost a child in Kiambu who was home watching TV. So is it that our police have lost the call, or how do we sort this problem?
The truth is, the leadership at the top is terrible. This should have had a pronouncement from the head of state himself. He goes on into a funny UDA meeting at State House and doesn't speak about Nyeri. He ignores the whole issue of Nyeri. To him, people being shot at close range within a church compound on a Sunday is not an issue. What is the issue is tutam and wearing yellow at State House. That is the only thing that they bring themselves to speak about when they are at State House. But human life to them is not sacred. And I've always told Kenyans, men and women who don't kill, men and women who don't send goons to churches, men and women who don't send goons against young people who are demonstrating, men and women who respect human life, men and women who have not killed our Gen Zs can still build roads. They can build affordable housing. They can do all those things that this government is claiming to be able to do. Why do you have to vote for a second term a government that has proven that it's killing its young people? A government that has proven that it's sending goons to churches. A government that has proven they are sending goons to demonstrations to beat up Gen Zs. Why would you want to vote for that one? Whereas we have Kenyans who have got no record of having any human blood on their hands offering themselves for the presidency. We can still get the same things and even better from human beings who respect human life. And that's why we are telling Kenyans, it's okay to say you want all these things, but you can get them from somebody who is not thirsty for your blood. What is so hard in understanding that?
My concern, though, is how do we recover from this? Because we fund our police
It is impossible.
for protection of the country.
It is impossible to recover from what has happened. In fact, it is a shame. These are proper crimes against humanity. You cannot come and attack unarmed people and maliciously destroy their property. And the Criminal Procedure Code provides for punishment for malicious damage to property. When we saw that man with an AK-47 walking and shooting every windscreen of every car he found and shooting the tires of every car we found, that is malicious damage to property. He's still walking scot-free. No arrest has been made. What do you think would have happened if he was doing that and it's the president who was in charge? Do you think those people would still be free, walking free today? So we've just decided that some human beings are less human than others. And so therefore we can do anything to them. I want to make it clear that some of us continue to stand in solidarity with Rigathi Gachagua. We continue to stand in solidarity with what he's fighting for. And we continue to stand in solidarity with all the people who were mistreated in that church. To the people of Nyeri and for what happened to you, take it from us. We stand in solidarity with you. I wish I could apologize, but we are not the ones who did it. But just be encouraged and know that you are part of a fight that must be fought. Don't give up. Don't hate yourself. Don't be afraid. The idea is to make you afraid. Be more emboldened that these people have found it fit to fight you. And remember, the cause is a good cause. We are fighting for constitutionalism. It's not a fight against William Ruto. You see, this is the problem. There are some people who have been sent online now. They have a very tiny brain. They keep saying, oh, ni Wakikuyu, ni Wajaluo. Rubbish. This is a fight for the 2010 Constitution that says we have freedom to worship. We have freedom of association. We have freedom to have speech. They say Rigathi Gachagua ni mkabila na ameneza ukabila. I tell them, Rigiji comes and says, Wakikuyu wanataka hivi. Kahawa ya Wakikuyu, chai ya Wakikuyu, majani ya Wakikuyu. You know, anataka Wakikuyu waemployiwe jobs. I have never heard Rigiji say, take away from the Luos, take away from the Masai, take away from the Kamba and give to the Kikuyu. I have never heard Rigiji say, the Masai are bad, the Kisii are bad, the Luo are bad. He has never ostracized other tribes for the sake of the Kikuyu. He has always said, I am fighting for my people. And so when tribalism becomes bad, is when a man or woman comes and says, mimi ni Mkamba na nachukia Wakisii, ama nachukia Wajaluo, ama staki Wakamba wapate, ama... But as long as a Kamba comes and fights for the rights of the Kambas, without ostracizing other tribes and making them look like they are terrible people, there's no problem with that.
Then why just not fight for the rights of every Kenyan?
Wait
Because
a
that
minute.
would be it.
Everybody has a calling. The other day, Rigiji was fighting for the rights of the people in Mandera and Wajir and Garissa. And they have come out. And the population is happy. Their leaders are angry. The population is happy. And they're saying, thank you, Rigiji. You have spoken for many. But nobody wants to talk about that. People just want to say Rigiji ni mkabila. Sasa ni mkabila ndio. Amepigania wa Somali. Amepigania wa Borana. He's fought for them. Hiyo ndio ukabila. Ukabila kwangu, in my view, is when Fanya Mambo comes and says, Wajaluo ni wabaya. Wakalenjin si watu wazuri. That is ukabila. But when I come and say, sisi wa Kikuyu, tunataka tujengewe barabara, there's nothing wrong with that. Because this is where I come from. And I'm demanding for something for my people. And my people want somebody who fights for them and asks for them and brings to them. So we shall continue to demand things for the Gikuyu community without fear.
Okay. Before we leave the police discussion,
Yeah.
A week ago, police attacked young men in Nandi who are playing pool. Mm-hmm. 2 days ago, another video again emerges of police attacking young people playing pool in Limuru. In Karatina, a young man was shot. In Kitengela, another young man was shot by, I think, either NIS or CID cop. All this within a span of 2 weeks. In the same weeks is when we've had the attack on worshippers in church. When you look at this and look at the police, what would be your message to the IG and what do you think is the real problem?
The fish rots from the top. When you have, for example, an outfit that regulates doctors in this country, and every time a doctor errs, they punish that person. When you have the Law Society of Kenya, and every time an advocate steals from the clients, they punish them. They remove their practicing certificate. They disbar them. When you have a teacher service commission that makes sure that any teacher who is probably molesting children or doing things that are unthinkable is punished, the people toe the line. When you have an outfit that regulates its people and has refused to discipline its own members, anything goes. If we had a police outfit at the top that made sure that a policeman knows if I do wrong, before the law catches up with me, my own outfit, the Kenya police, will have dealt with me. Why do you think we don't get incidences of our army misbehaving? It's because the court-martial within the army structures is so effective. You will not find army men fighting civilians, doing stupid things. They are disciplined forces because they know that internally, the mechanism of dealing with an errant army officer is so strong, so robust, so well oiled, and it comes and it is effective in discipline. IG Kanja, DIG, Langat, you people have failed. Come with a hammer. Stamp your authority over your forces. Unajua inakuwa, for example, wengine wanatumagwa kiganjo for retraining. You don't transfer. You discipline your forces and there will be discipline indeed. Now it has become like any policeman who does anything is like there are no discipline mechanisms within the police force. You have to wait for the civilian law. It is untrue. They have procedures, they have mechanisms of disciplining errant policemen, but they are not doing it.
Do you think Kipchumba Murkomen, who is the CS for Interior, emboldened them when he said they can shoot? Because this was said towards the end of last, I think somewhere in September, October, thereabouts. Because when the CS speaks, then...
To start with, is an advocate of the High Court of Kenya.
Yeah.
And at some point, he taught law at the Catholic University. I don't know what changed. And sometimes I look at him and I worry deeply. Not because I hate him, but because I don't like this new version of him. He taught human rights. He taught democracy. He was, he was one lecturer people loved at the university. Today you look at him and you wonder, is this the same Kipchumba Murkomen? Because we want to give the benefit of doubt and say Kipchumba is a good guy. But then he makes some decrees. He leads the police force in a way that makes you ask yourself, surely, why did he have to become an advocate? And why did he have to become a teacher for lawyers and then take us through this? Same with Professor Kindiki. He was one of the best lawyers we've had in this country. Then later on, he becomes the minister in charge of Interior. And we lose so many Gen Zs. So this thing that happens to people when they acquire power, I think we need a scientific research into it and ask what really happens.
But the whole idea of police brutality, against the citizens who are actually not armed, how do citizens, because citizens are feeling it. Because you see what is happening. At the end of the day, you feel the pain as a citizen. You may not have a firearm, you may not fight back, but you feel the pain. How do we get through this? And are there mechanisms that we can raise so that, as citizens, we're able to sort of get onto the same wavelength in terms of thinking and understanding one another?
I don't know, but I feel like this country needs cameras everywhere. Almost as close to the bathroom as possible, if not inside. Because if that pool place did not have those cameras, you can imagine, that story would just have disappeared.
Yeah.
If people were not hiding and taking videos of what was going on in the church in Nyeri, you can imagine what would be happening. I insist again, the fish rots from the head. If we have leaders who mean well for this country, they will not allow citizens to be mistreated like that. And I like to submit to Kenyans, we only have until 2027 August to sober up and make the right decision. As I told you, I'm not worried about the person of William Ruto and his people. I'm only worried of those few Kenyans who still believe in them. I wish I could put them in a room and explain to them what is wrong with this administration.
But you know,
because that's the weakest link. That's the weakest link we have as a country, that there are people who still think that this administration means well for its people when it's killing people in churches and when their policemen are beating up young people for playing pool. What crime in the penal code? I sometimes look at the penal code every other moment and I ask myself, playing pool, where is it in the penal code? Wamefanya makosa gani? Because I wish they were, in an act of rape, of robbery with violence, or they were playing pool. So that's why I'm saying the few, and they are very few, who still believe that this administration is taking them somewhere, are the ones we need to take time first and pray for them so that they can acquire a brain of some sort. And then now convert them and then talk to them and then get someone to hold their hand and always remind, wake up, your mind is sick, wake up. Someone to hold their hand until 27. Na ikifika siku ya ballot anamwambia, please, I know you might be losing it. You might look for things that look like for wheelbarrows and vote for them. Those are the people we need to hold. They are sick, they need help.
Now, before you hold them, the president had a UDA meeting at State House with over, I think, was it 180 MPs? So that should tell you something, even when you dismiss and think that Kenyans are not supporting the president. He has his supporters, of course. But when you look at what is happening, and one of the key highlights for me was seeing Gathoni Mushomba, who was part of your united opposition, and she's very confident that it's a two-term. And even the president said this time round, the gap is going to be 2 million votes. That's what he's looking as being the gap between him and your people of opposition.
It's good
Are you ready?
It's good to be delusional, okay? It's good. Delusion is a choice. You can choose to be delusional. And they are. And indeed they are. William Ruto became president.
About your team.
No, let me tell you. Facts are stubborn. William Ruto became president in 2022.
Yes.
With 7.2 million votes. 47% of his votes came from Mount Kenya. About 3.7 million votes. It's there, it's on record. Mm-hmm. Those people are not voting with him. And that's why he's sending goons to beat them up in churches. He's bitter. Okay? They are not voting with him. So you've lost 3.7 million votes and your margin was 200,000 votes. Now, he goes to Nyanza. Nyanza, in their love for Raila Amolo Odinga, out of 2.1 million registered people in Nyanza, only 1.6 million people voted. A 68% turnout. Now, this is when Baba, the man they would die for on the streets, is on the ballot. What will make a standard person from Luo Nyanza, if 500,000 of them could not vote for Baba they loved, what will make them now go vote for somebody else from another place called William Ruto? So his votes there will be very little. We go to Western. The bulk of Western voted for Raila Amolo Odinga. Today, it is not common rocket science to know that Western has left William Ruto. The Abagusi nation was with Baba, Raila Amolo Odinga. Today, and now Ruto is working with ODM. Today, the Abagusi nation is saying they are one term. They are with Matiang'i, who is pro one term. So you've lost the Luo Nyanza. No, you've lost the bulk of Kisii Nyanza. You've lost Western. Mount Kenya is gone completely, forget it. And then you're saying the gap will be 2 million votes in your favor. I sometimes sit and worry deeply when I think about these 2 million votes that William Ruto keeps talking about.
But he's speaking from a point of, and he mentioned, even his cap actually was mixed colors of ODM and UDA. So he's confident that they're going to form a pact with ODM,
you see,
which was the opposition with these numbers back then.
ODM was good in 2022 when we, even in Mount Kenya, gave it. Remember this ODM that Ruto is talking about got 1.1 million votes from Mount Kenya. So not only has he lost the 4.7 million votes, and the 3.7 million votes he got from Mount Kenya, he has also lost the 1 million that voted for Raila.
How? And they're in broad-based.
I was one of them. I voted for Baba. I am not in broad-based. And I can't fit in that bread-based government. It's impossible. So not only has he lost the ones who voted for him within UDA, he's lost these 1 million that voted for Raila, because it is one thing for Baba to go into government. It's another one for us to go with him, and we refused. Now, the ODM he's partnering with is the ODM that has lost Gusii Nyanza, is the ODM that has lost Coast, is the ODM that has lost Western, is the ODM that is struggling to hold a rally in Kibra. You saw what has happened. I wish you saw Oburu Odinga. Kwa nini hapo nyuma amukubali? He's struggling. For the first time, I'm seeing ODM paying people to mobilize.
But don't you feel like we are putting Oburu on the same pedestal as Raila, which cannot be the same, obviously.
Sifuna and Babu Owino did roadside rallies this Sunday in Kawangware. Mammoth crowds. Not mobilized, not paid. Singing one time. In fact, I am so happy to God that now Rigathi Gachagua is not alone going the country saying one time. Babu Owino, Sifuna, Osotsi, and the others have come out. And now they are beginning to spend their Sundays going around as an outfit of ODM saying one time. So now we are hearing one time coming from the United Opposition, led by DCP, of course. And now ODM, led by Sifuna, Babu Owino, Osotsi, and the others, is going around saying one time. I wish he was talking of an ODM that is all saying two term. But now he's talking of an ODM where half of them are saying one term. So not only did Baba get 1.6 million votes out of 2.1, now even this 1.6 is divided.
So you're very excited about Babu and Sifuna's ODM pact. Do you think this is the end, make or break of ODM technically? Because obviously, as it is, there are two paths to it. There is the older generation that is pro-government, and there is the younger generation, which is led by the young people. Which way forward, or how will this ODM move?
ODM was formed as a party that had a connection with the people. If you wanted to know where the people were, you'd look for ODM. Today, we have part of ODM that insists they are with government. And we have another part of ODM that is where the people are. You just need to choose which part of ODM you want to be with.
On the flip side, would it be a political gimmick?
It is not a political gimmick. I don't think William Ruto is happy to see Sifuna and the others saying one term to ODM supporters. And those ODM supporters were cheering in the whole of Kawangware. How would that make William Ruto happy? And they are wearing orange. And they are saying, sisi tuko ODM na hatuko broad-based. And I like Orengo. Orengo has always been progressive thinking. Even in 1997, he was Mageuzi. And now he's with Akina Sifuna. So Oburu and his ilk can continue making William Ruto happy. But they are giving him an orange that is half, an orange that is weak, and an orange that can't support itself. You need the versatility of these young people campaigning for you. Now I'm imagining, okay, he decides to take the side that is led by Oburu Odinga. How many rallies will he do in a day? In all fairness, we love him, we respect him, but his body is not capable. I mean, I like him, but he struggles to even board his own car. Then you're trusting him to bring you votes from Luo Nyanza. We need to respect age, and we need to accept that when age catches up with us, we allow ourselves to bring young people and hand the baton to them.
But the old man has called for a meeting. He said the family has a meeting on, was it 2nd Feb?
Let them have a meeting. Once they are done having the meeting, you can have as many family meetings as you want. The only important meetings you're supposed to have is with Wananchi, and ask them, what do you want? And do what Wananchi want, not what the family wants. Otherwise, you'll be a family on your own without Wananchi.
So which way forward for ODM as a party?
Which way forward?
Yes.
Hand the baton to the young leaders. It's the only way it's going to survive. If you want to know a farmer who is doing well, don't look at the number of big cows he has. Start looking at the heifers that he has. You count those ones. If you want to know a church that is successful, go to the Sunday school. The more children you see in Sunday school, the more that church is going to survive. Ukienda church ukute tu ni watu wazee, hakuna Sunday school, count that church useless. ODM has got a great deal of young people, but they don't want to hand leadership to these young people. And that's what will kill the party. Way forward, you must decide as old people to become an advisory council. And you must allow young people to go out there. If they are going to make mistakes, Baba also made his mistakes. Let them be. But you have to hand the baton to the young people.
The other day, now that we are on ODM, Winnie Odinga was doing a rally in Kamukunji, and she spoke her heart out of what she felt. Watu mnaongea sana, kuna watu wanaongea sana, and she said it. And a few days after that, the mother, Mama Ida Odinga, has been appointed at the UNEP, permanent representative. What's the message here? I mean, we're not saying she's been appointed because Winnie spoke, but what's the politics?
Winnie is expressing herself. She has a democratic right. You know, people forget one thing. Baba built ODM. Blood, sweat, and tears. Yeah. So they're coming and telling the family, you can inherit your father's house. You can inherit your father's bank account. You can inherit the gas business. You can inherit whatever hotels Baba owned. But you can't inherit the party he built. Na hii chama ndio Baba alikuwa anaacha, ameambia Mama Ida, wekelea maji, naenda kuja na unga ya ugali. Anaingia ODM, anarudi na unga. So they feel this party was my dad's blood, sweat, and tears. And it's true tears because on the heels of ODM, alikula tear gas mingi sana. So this Baba who ate all these tear gas and, you know, did all these things on the streets on ODM. Alafu mkuja mwambia watoto wenyu, you know, you've worked that hard, and then unaambia watoto wako they can inherit everything, but they can't inherit your father's shop that used to bring unga to the house. So they are fighting for that. They want a space in the empire that their father built. And the biggest successful empire that they built was not even the hotels and the other businesses he owns, was ODM. Ida Odinga, I wish she could take our advice. Picture yourself at 75, a billionaire. When she goes to UNEP, she's not everything. She'll have a boss. Someone is obviously ahead of her, at the top of her. Why is she reporting to anybody at her age? Can you imagine sasa ati Aida anaanza kutoka, anaingia kwa gari, anapambana na traffic, anaenda job. Unaenda job kufanya nini? What are you looking for that you don't have? If I was Mama Ida, I would have looked for a young, beautiful Luo lady from that place with a master's. I would have in fact, I would have gone to the most underprivileged family in Luo Nyanza and asked and said, I want to have an interview of the young, wonderful girls who've reached master's level from that place. And I'll choose the most qualified from the poorest background. Hold her hand and go to William Ruto and tell him, this young girl deserves that position more than me. Let that position be held by this young person. That would have cemented her legacy as a wonderful mother. Taking up a position at 75, big mistake, huge mistake, the most terrible mistake of her life. Because then the question is, it comes with a lot of perks, comes with a lot of money. Yeah. What do you need it for?
It's never enough, I think.
No. Let me tell you. At 75, what Baba has built for his wife and family, they can eat to their 4th generation, maybe even 5th. Some of us have an idea of what Baba was worth. And I can tell you, it is more than enough for Ida Odinga to her great-grandchildren. Decline that appointment.
She already accepted on Sunday in some church and was grateful. So
terrible decision. Terrible. I have profound respect for her, but that was a terrible decision.
They say unless you're in her shoes, you may not understand.
No. What does she need it for? There are people who literally need that job. Mama Ida does not need that job. And sometimes you give jobs to the people who need it, not the people who want it, or the people who feel excited about it. Someone has studied diplomacy. Somebody has studied international law. Somebody understands international human rights law. Somebody understands something of value they can bring to UNEP. I am gravely disappointed in the appointment and in the acceptance. That I cannot mince words about.
I'm sorry about your disappointments, but sadly, I can't play a part in any of that. But opposition, when Raila Odinga was alive, we knew opposition was alive and kicking and lively, so to say. But now opposition feels like it's dead. That's just the truth. You people,
Are we dead and we are being tear gassed?
as William Ruto says, you have no agenda. You're just, we will see Gachagua appear. We saw Dr. Fred Matiang'i at least make an appearance on some radio this week. Kalonzo, we have no idea where he is. Who are the rest of your members? Eugene, we don't know. Are you guys still united or you are fragmented?
I've always told people, why are we listening to William Ruto telling us how we need to keep our own house? We are happy with our house as it is. Vile tulipanga viti zetu na furniture na sufuria. Enda upange yako, wacha kuja kutupangia yetu. Mtu anakuja kuambia, hamuko united. I don't like where you've put your chair. Your sufuria should be here. But are you guys
united?
We are happy with where we are.
That does not answer my question.
Yes, we are united. What does united mean? We are united.
Where are your other partners?
Like who?
Eugene?
You see, there's one thing you need to understand. Beyond fighting William Ruto, which is not our primary business, everybody you see in the united opposition, including Fanya Mambo, we have something we do to bring bread to the table. There are times when those people in the united opposition have to take a flight abroad. The late Cyrus Jirongo, may he rest in peace, was one person who was strongly in the united opposition. But once in a while, he needed to be in DRC for a month. Once in a while, he needed to go to Libya. Because his family needs him to provide bread, he's still a breadwinner. He doesn't eat politics. So when you see someone not present, it doesn't mean that they are not believing in the dream. They also have a personal life they live, and they also have personal commitments they have to attend to. Some of us are students. We are still studying. Masomo haishangi. If I have an exam month, for example, I'll be missing from the public limelight. Great men were made behind closed doors. So it's not this thing that the opposition is united and the only business they have is fighting William Ruto. So they stop breathing, they stop everything, they stop eating, they stop looking for money for their families, and the only thing they do Monday to Friday is fight William Ruto, who is going around the country using our fuel, our resources, our helicopters, our policemen and everything, and his primary business is politics.
So you guys are still together?
We are together, we are united, we have our challenges, we are perfect, we are happy, we understand each other, and nobody's complaining. We are okay. I saw Kalonzo Musyoka on Sunday, he was in a church. And he actually gave an ultimatum and said, if we don't get Rigiji, we shall not have a nation. He spoke very well of Rigiji. We just sometimes expect that because we've been seeing leaders who are drama kings all over the country, so we want the country to have. Can you imagine if Kenya had 50 William Rutos?
You know why I'm asking if you're still united and if you still take positions as a united opposition. We've been having a talk about education the whole of this month of January, right? Mm-hmm. And the grade 10 transition.
Yeah.
United opposition had a spokesperson or has, and the whole team has not given an issue or a statement on the issues that have been, the crisis that has been in the education sector. If you cannot issue a statement on such, how do we trust you with leadership? Because that is leadership.
I'll tell you why. This government has done a million terrible things between December and now. By the way, when you start speaking about them, the only thing you'll do is press conferences. So we also get tired. People are not aware that the government passed something called the Public Enterprises Act of 2025 on the 5th of December last year. That is the most terrible piece of legislation that has ever happened. And maybe I want to break it to Kenyans for the first time. The Public Enterprises Act of 2025, the primary objective of that act, na it was passed and gazetted on the 5th of December, Wakenya muitafute, taken there by one John Mbadi. He has done the worst thing that could have ever happened to Kenya, worse than finance bill. The main object of that bill is to privatize. So all state corporations are moving from parastatals to public limited liability companies. By dint of that bill, the Kenya Airports Authority Act has been repealed. The Kenya Meat Commission Act has been repealed. The Kenya Ports Authority Act has been repealed. The Kenya Railways Act has been repealed. There are a total of 65 parastatals, including Ketraco, Kenyan, KPLC, Jomo Kenyatta Foundation, Kenya Meat Commission, AFC, this one for farmers,
Agricultural Finance Corporation.
All those, their acts have been repealed and they've been declared public limited liability companies, whose director until now we don't know. Do you know what that means? If you were an employee of the Kenya Airports Authority, for example, you no longer know who your boss is. The directors have changed. It's no longer a parastatal as we speak. 65 parastatals have now been made limited liability companies. Doesn't that worry Kenyans? And maybe let me paint the picture by just taking one. When you look at the Kenya airport, it was built around 1958, Jomo Kenyatta. Then in 1978, Kenya had a population of 15 million people in 1978. 15 million Kenyans were able to expand JKIA. And their taxes then were wheat, maize, beans, just agricultural products. Until to the point that it had a new wing at the airport. And the airport was relaunched in 1978 and called Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. Many years later, in 2026, we are not 15 million now. We are 53 million.
Yeah.
Our sources of income have increased. We have diversified. We have internet. We have all sorts of places from which we can collect taxes. It is now emerging that 53 million of us cannot expand our airport. That which 15 million of us built, we can't expand. It gets even terrible that in 2026, 53 million of us tunaenda kupigia muhindi mmoja magoti anaitwa Adani atujenge airport at 240 billion. If that doesn't worry you, I want you to take 240 billion and divide by 53 million people. And then you'll understand how much money each Kenyan needs to raise. If you go ahead, take 240 billion, divide by 53 million Kenyans, you will see how much each Kenyan would give if it were giving in 1 year. Adani would be given our airport for 30 years. If you divide by 30 years, each Kenyan needs 40 cents per day for us to expand and build our airport to become what it's supposed to be. But we have a leadership that thinks you need to sell the airport that our grandfathers built on their blood, sweat, and tears, selling tea and coffee and managu and whatever. We, 53 million of us, can't expand it. It's a terrible space to be. And by the way, but for you to understand what this bill means, because you spoke about education, after they passed the bill, remember Parliament is still on recess.
Yes.
Only 2 committees were called back, Kenyans.
Yeah.
The Committee on Privatization and the Committee on what do you call it? And the Committee on, there are 2 committees that were called back. They are sitting in Parliament right now, as from the 18th.
One yesterday. I'm trying to remember the committee.
Yes, as from the 18th. Can you imagine? Nyinyi hamujui serikali imeweka wapi wa Kenya. Let me paint for you the picture so that muelewe. Children have a crisis of grade 10. Taking children back into school is a problem. But the government decides that the committee to be called back to Parliament early is not the Education Committee. It is the Public Investment Committee and the Privatization Committee. Because selling your 65 parastatals is more important than putting your children back to school. Up to now, the Education Committee in Parliament is at home.
I don't think they are going to have a sitting anyway.
Exactly. That is where the government of President William Ruto places education in its hierarchy of needs.
So as opposition, it did not bother you to even at least
it has bothered us. As I told you, when some of us were fighting this bill, I was reading this. You see, I'm speaking about this bill like it's on my hands. I was reading this bill throughout this period. Because I never come to Kenyans. Have you ever seen me say something on this show and then nakuja sema, oh, I'm sorry, I hadn't researched. No. Kenyans, Public Enterprises Bill of 2025, passed on the 5th of December, is the most terrible piece of legislation that has ever happened since UDA came to power. It is worse than the Finance Bill of 2024.
So what do we do?
So what we first do is create awareness to Kenyans about it, because you can't do anything about it if you don't know about it. So Kenyans need to know that 65 state parastatals have been privatized. And we don't know who the new directors are. Once you understand that Kenya Ports Authority is no longer what it used to be, and the Kenya Ports Authority is not just an authority. Ukifikiria port ya Mombasa, port ya Lamu, port yenye iko pale Kisumu kwa lake, then you understand. When you think about Kenya Railways, it's the biggest landowner. Kenya Pipeline, privatized. And so Kenyans just understand that this government doesn't care about you. The president comes and gives a declaration in Meru. Ati watoto wote warudi shule kama wako na uniform ama hawana uniform. Saa zile mzazi atapata pesa atalipa. I thought he would end by saying, serikali italipia hawa watoto. President Mwai Kibaki, may he rest in peace, with a lesser population in 2002 to 2013 or 2012 when he left 2013, was able to give us pre-primary education. Less population, less resources, a smaller economy. He gave us free primary education.
And less debt.
And yes, now we have a head of state.
Our debt plays a part in this.
But is this head of state borrowing more? You can't keep saying debt is bad and debt is taking away from us and you're borrowing faster than any other person who ever borrowed. You have to choose which side of the mouth to speak from. You can't be a president who tells us, oh, we have debt, we are paying debt, and then you are borrowing more. You have to stop saying, okay, if debt is bad, stop borrowing. And I keep saying, if Kenya is so hard to lead, why not resign? If it's too hard to lead us, if we are demanding...
He hasn't said it's hard. He has said he has his means which he believes will take us where he...
What if we don't agree with his ways?
You do not have to agree. You know, even when he was speaking when he was addressing the UDA, he actually gave an example and said a statement that some countries, some of the most developed countries have had dictators, which is actually true. China, it's a dictator.
Okay.
Russia, North Korea. These are first world countries. But I am not saying we need to be dictators because ours is a democracy, but his statement was actually right. So in my thinking, I think the ways he's working with is maybe what people disagree with. But he has his vision on it.
Let us agree. When the president took the oath of office at Kasarani, it was an oath of office to protect the 2010 constitution.
True.
If he has another oath of office, atuambie. The 2010 constitution in Article 4, sub-Article 2, speaks about Kenya being a multi-party democratic state. Attorney General, where are you? What kind of advice are you giving the president? Because the first thing the Attorney General should have been doing now is telling the president, wait a minute. You swore by the 2010 constitution. And within that 2010 constitution, there is something inside there called Article 4. And that Article 4 has got a sub-Article 2. And that sub-Article 2 declares that Kenya is a multi-party democratic state.
But
anybody who has a problem with that provision must resign, because the constitution is not going to be suspended to please anybody who thinks that Kenya...
He hasn't said you suspend them. In fact, the second part of that statement was, but ours is not such a nation.
No.
So
we don't care about the second part.
No,
the first
you
part
can't
is
be
bad.
Selective.
The first part is bad enough, and we must not allow...
But did we get the context with which he was speaking?
We will not allow anybody who holds a public office to come and speak about dictatorship. Idi Amin of Dada was a dictator. He led people and poured them into Lake Victoria. Mobutu Sese Seko had an Concorde aircraft coming for him at home. He used to order the way we order Uber. Inakuja kwake nyumbani, that palace he had built an airstrip in his home to take him to France. We had terrible leaders like Robert Mugabe, who ruined and crippled the economy of Zimbabwe because he thought it was his personal wallet. Between 1980 all the way to 2017, he was at the helm of Zimbabwe. So we can't allow. And then we had Adolf Hitler, who killed 6 million Jews. So we are not accepting dictatorship. I think this is where Kenyans will always draw the line and tell the head of state, by the way, we respect the office of the presidency. But let me tell you, if we have to choose between the president and the 2010 constitution, sisi wote tunakufa at the door of the 2010 constitution. Article 4, sub-article 2. Kenya is a multi-party democratic state. That one will not be deleted by anybody. And don't entertain the idea that we can even entertain the idea of dictatorship. We have gotten to the place where we are saying, sisi tunataka yule kiongozi atatuongoza in a democratic way. And if anybody holding any positions feels that democracy is too hard for them, resigning is an option. We have always said it. Sio lazima mtu a hold position. If you feel that holding that position is contrasting with your beliefs, we don't care what your beliefs are. We care about the 2010 constitution. And even if all of us died, those who will come after us will defend the constitution. So that needs to be clear. Albert Ojwang is dead. May he rest in peace. Marx is dead. And a few others, and many others who have died. But they died defending and enjoying the rights provided in this constitution. And when they died, did the voices of Kenyans reduce? I like to tell Kenyans, I want you to remember, there was a guy called President Moi, who thought that by beating up Njoya on the streets, people are going to keep quiet. He came up with torture chambers. He really tortured people. People like Njeru Gathangu, I celebrate him. He has 100 wounds on his body. And this was happening at torture chambers. He was actually compensated by this government, 20 million for the torture he underwent under the Moi regime. But did that stop people from agitating for good leadership? The day that will sink in leaders, that when you kill the voice, you're not killing the desire to do the right thing in people, then you realize that the best way to lead a nation is the Mandela way, is the Bill Clinton way, is the way that democracies are run. We have, we had a good leader in Germany, Dr. Merkel. Merkel. We've had very many great leaders. And they've not been great because they've been dictators. They've been great because they've been sympathetic to the plight of their people. Greatness does not come with giving dictates. Hitler tried. He killed 6 million Jews. Who reveres him? All the books about him in Germany were banned. I visited Germany. I went to the Berlin Wall. And you can almost feel like you want to cry because of what such leaders have done. So we will condemn the idea of dictatorship. And we will remind these leaders that getting rid of all those people who are speaking now does not get rid of the message. In fact, it emboldens those who are left behind. If we had all given up because Rex Masai had died, what would happen to this country? If we had all given up because Reverend Timothy Njoya was beaten, Njeru Gathango was tortured, Matiba was, mercuried in his brain, people will not stop speaking to any administration that continues to meet violence upon them. People will continue to speak. And we will remind you that we have a living document called a constitution. It is alive, it has breath, it has blood, and it beats every day.
True that.
Yeah.
Now, as we talk about dictatorship, there are MPs who've been part of your DCP party, Gathoni Mushomba, Koimburi, and they've left. And some of the reasons they gave was that you have a dictator as a leader of the party. Or why are they leaving?
Wonderful question. Koimburi is an elected member of parliament.
True.
On a UDA ticket. So he's just back home. Okay? Go check his record. He has a litany of cases. They're in court. And most of them are fraud cases related to land. We are happy to lose Koimburi as a united opposition. Because even where he represents the people of Juja, they are not happy with him. They don't want him. Remember, Koimburi took us to very bad lengths where I visited him at the hospital, Karen Hospital, strongly believing he was abducted because I fight for human rights. only to go and find out, and he has confessed that it was self-abduction. A man who is capable of doing such things really is a tainting image to the united opposition. Those are tabias that belong to UDA. We are happy he's taken those bad manners to where they belong. Really, UDA is happy to receive him. Do you think if he was coming from the other side, would have been happy to receive such a person, such a record, that even his constituents are saying no?
But you were happy to have him before.
No. We were managing him. He offered us furniture by there at the office. Then he said he's coming for it. I love Rigathi. Rigathi said, don't wait for him to come. Say, send it to him. He just needs to give a pin location, take it to his gate.
So was it sent?
It was. Ililodiwa ikapelekwa. Koimburi, unfortunately, is not a loss to us. And I wish there was a nice way of putting it, but it isn't a loss to us.
The Githunguri MP.
I fear to speak about Gathoni wa Mushomba.
There's nothing to fear. She spoke confidently
I can say
and
something.
said she's supporting two-term because she wants development. In fact,
I have that video.
Wachana na video. There's a cartoon that is going on today where she's talking about kazi kwanza, siasa baadaye.
Now, let's go to Githunguri. Have you ever heard of a constituency that has been denied CDF because they are not in government? When you answer that question, you realize that you don't need to be with William Ruto to get CDF. So this nonsense of telling Kenyans that I have gone to government so that I can bring you development is untrue. Number two.
Is it?
Budgets, let me tell you. Hiyo upuzi ya KANU iliisha. Budgets are made in parliament. Roads and everything else is approved in parliament. If your member of parliament is unable to lobby for you in parliament and to demand that roads be enshrined in budgets and all those other things that you need, asikudanganye that walking around with the president is what is going to bring development in your area. Kitambo ndio ulikuwa unafuata Moi anasema hii barabara ijengwe. Today, Kura, Kera, Kenha, all those operate from what budgetary allocations have been passed through the legislative house.
But you know, we had a time where Kikuyu had been allocated, was it almost $1 billion for roads?
It was actually 2 billion allocated to Kiambu, which their MP diverted the bulk of it to Kikuyu.
So how did that MP then have that money if it does not matter which side you support for you to get funding?
I'll tell you this, and it's good you raised the question of Kikuyu. When you bring me roads worth $1 billion, and then you go to parliament and you are the person spearheading the law that is called SHA, moving us from NHIF to a moribund thing called SHA. The people of Kikuyu are losing more in hospital bills than they are gaining from the roads that have been built. They are the same people who moved us from HELB to this idiotic thing called capitation, called university funding model. The people of Kikuyu right now are suffering more, doing harambes, trying to, because there are more young people in Kikuyu who are going to the university than the cost of the roads of this. Because if you take 10, 20,000 young people in a constituency of 150,000 people and say these ones need to go to university and multiply that 10,000 by the school fees, which is close to 100,000 right now, that thing is more than 10 billion shillings. So you can't bring us a road of 1 billion shillings and then pass a stupid university funding model where you now give us, you take away from us 10 billion. The people who are sick in Kikuyu, if you have 150,000 voters, and let's say 5,000 of them are sick, easy bills zetu tunaona za hospitali za 1 million. How much is that? That's another 5 billion lost in medical. Na mumeletewa kakitu kajinga kanaitwa barabara za 1 billion. The same person goes to parliament and passes another law. They pass for you the law that denies schools capitation. Wanasema hakuna pesa ya kupeleka mashule. So the number of children going to school in Kikuyu and the amount of money they pay in fee is a lot more than the value of 1 billion or 2 billion in terms of roads. So we have members of parliament who give you an eighth with one hand and take away 15 with the other hand. And people are supposed to celebrate. Tumeona lami, tumeona barabara. The question is, how much more has been taken away from you? Mimi kwetu Dagoretti South niona watu wanadanganywa na darasa. Tumejengewa 5 classrooms. 5 classrooms is 5 million.
But you know,
But that person is passing a bill that takes away share from, health, in the health from you, and you are spending a lot more than you'd benefit from a classroom.
But that does not mean we dismiss that, because kids need the classroom for sure. You need the road. I need anyone. I could be passing in Kikuyu for all I care. I don't know how many times, but that road is in long term very useful for not for even the constituency.
That is robbery through legislation. And Kenyans have to be told these truths. They are painful, they are ugly, but that's how they look like.
But as we tell Kenyans this, and when you look at what is happening politically, do we really have politics of principle in this country?
A great number of people don't have principle. I wanted to allow some people to think the way they were thinking by saying that Rigathi is a bad person. And I take the example of Gathoni wa Mushomba, and it's something I really wanted to avoid talking about. But let me talk about it, because she still remains a friend, in as much as we are in different camps. And as much as ideologically I totally don't agree with her. Ideologically, I don't. But I would never hate her as a person, and I don't think she would hate me. Gathoni wa Mushomba was in Jubilee for some time.
Yeah.
Then she joined UGA 3 months to the election. Right? She was elected. One of the first persons to fall out with UDA, if you remember, was Gathoni wa Mushomba.
Yeah.
Okay? She fell out with UDA. Then, moving forward, she worked with Rigathi. Then she fell out with Rigathi. Then, moving forward, she worked with Matiang'i. She fell out with that team. I saw Gloria Oroba saying things about it. She fell out with the team. Now, she left. She has joined UDA.
No, before that she was with Kina Sifuna.
Yes, good. So, in fact, I like that. So when she left Akina Matiang'i, she worked with Kenya Moja.
Yes, that's that team.
And now, after working with Kenya Moja, she's now with UDA. Let me tell you, I can say I have a bad wife, for example. But when I finish this, and then you hear I have wife 1, wife 2, wife 3, wife 4, wife 5, and then I say all these wives are bad. Kenyans will look at me and say, wait, one thing is constant. You are changing. You get? The 5 wives can't all be wrong. One thing is constant. You can't be with 5 wives and they are all bad and you are good. So all I'm trying to say is, I don't think this is an open war against Gathoni wa Mushomba. All I'm saying is, if truly Rigathi is bad, then all these other people she has worked with, including the president, is bad. Because she left him at some point. Yeah, she left him and joined Rigathi.
The way they were handshaking, she didn't look like he's a bad person to her.
No. Look here. At some point, she left the president and said UDA government was bad. And she really fought the UDA government. And she worked with Rigathi in fighting the UDA government. Then she comes and leaves Rigathi and says Rigathi is bad. And then some people believe her. And she leaves him and goes to Team Matiang'i. And then she leaves Team Matiang'i and goes to Kenya Moja. And she leaves Kenya Moja and now is back with UDA. I would want to think that something has to be left to Kenyans to decide. And I wish her well. But I feel like there are so many people who believed in her and they have not gone to UDA with her. Na hakuna kitu mbaya kama mwanasiasa. Mimi sahi niko DCP. Let me tell you. There's a time I went to the people of Dagoretti with Jubilee. Naambia mimi ni wa Jubilee. UDA ni mbaya. People looked at me. Later, when I lost that election, they told me, Fanya Mambo, tulikuambia hatutaki hii chama, tunataka hii. By the time I was joining DCP, the people of Dagoretti South had told me categorically, huku ukikuja na wheelbarrow unauma nje. And I told them, wakaniambia si tulikukataa na hiyo Jubilee. Ni chama tulikataa, tunakupenda. Leta hiyo Jubilee, utakanyanga nje. I told them, Kenya Moja, they told me, hiyo ni chama gani? So, the one thing I knew, even if I was to be paid to vie on a UDA ticket, I would never vie. I would rather stay at home. So, people have to ask, where are my people? As you choose your political vehicle, Because kuna watu wanakwambia simama independent. Independent kuna watu wangapi huko? You go
Salasia.
where your people are. You know Salasia. You know when everybody's taking tea in the morning, I think his tea is also really special. There must be something more in his tea than the sugar and the tea leaves. And so sometimes he's usually very excited when he's saying some of these things. So I don't want to put myself in his shoes because what he adds to his tea, I don't add to mine.
Okay. You've mentioned Jubilee, and I've just remembered they had a reorganization last week.
Yes.
And now former SecGen,
Jeremiah
Kioni is now the deputy party leader. So he's deputizing the former president, right?
Yes.
What inspired this reorganization from how you look at it? And what will be the impacts?
First, I celebrate their deputy SecGen. He's a fellow millennial, Zach.
Oh, Zach, you know the yes, he also got a posting.
He's about our age. I celebrate that.
Not our age. You know, you people who are
I'm
older,
a millennial. Look.
The older millennials. Us guys are closer to Gen Zs. We are the younger millennials.
Whatever you want to say.
Refuse.
For me, I'll say either way.
Yeah.
Zach is a millennial. And so bringing him to the position of deputy SecGen is a good thing. I don't know. Have you ever seen a house that people don't like so much? Then you change how you plan the seats, you rearrange them, you do whatever. It remains the same. I was in Jubilee faithfully, and I loved the red, and I loved the dove. And I used to wear them to say Niko Jubilee. But then the question is, what are political parties about? They're about people. Where are the people? You put a Jubilee ticket here, you put a Wiper ticket here, you put a DCP ticket here, you put a UDA ticket here. The question should be, in whatever constituency you go, which of these tickets are the most desirable? If you are an aspirant and you are vying in Murang'a or in Thika or in Kiambu or in wherever, and you are told to choose a ticket. If you're an aspirant and you are vying, for example, in the Rift Valley, choose a ticket. You are vying in Luo Nyanza, choose a ticket. And so for me, I would say I wouldn't want to fight Jubilee because they are part of the united opposition. But from where I sit, I wish them well, I wish them good luck, I wish them success. But I pray that Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta will lead his people towards working together with the united opposition.
Okay.
Yeah.
There are rumors of a meeting. I cannot confirm or deny.
I was trying to look for a video. Rumors. I saw people putting a cutting on social media and saying that Uhuru has called for a meeting, but I haven't heard him verbatim.
He hasn't called. Even Jubilee hasn't posted. It's just a rumor.
Which is a good thing. It's excited the nation. I mean, I saw it and I felt like, wow, this thing is long overdue. It's very, very long overdue.
But he had just a meeting with Jubilee. Was it in November?
It's never too late. It's never too soon to have another one. We are excited about the idea of Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta working with Rigathi Gachagua and Martha Karua and Eugene and Matiang'i and Kalonzo. And Kenyans, from where you're observing, let me tell you, when Obama left office, he came out and campaigned for this lady, Bill Clinton's wife. What was her name? He campaigned for her, Hillary Clinton. When she didn't win, he came out and openly campaigned for the Joe Biden, who won. So let people not tell you that Uhuru ameritaya afai kukamp. No. In all civilized, established democracies, retired presidents actually go and take a lead role in campaigning for their desired candidate. Uhuru Kenyatta, don't let anybody tell you you can't campaign for the candidate of your choice. In fact, come out. Do it the Obama style. Even Obama's wife, she came out and she so strongly and passionately campaigned for Hillary Clinton. I was asking myself, does this woman know that she can actually be US president? Why is she campaigning for Hillary Clinton? But I think, are you aware if she had offered herself, Michelle Obama should probably have won. She was so nice, she was so charismatic, so passionate. But anyway, so all I'm saying is Uhuru and Margaret, fanyeni kama Obama, chezeni kama nyinyi.
We wish them well.
Yeah.
And we hope they are keeping well as our retired President and First Lady.
Yeah.
Now, as we conclude, I sat here with Dr. Njoki Wamai.
Yeah.
And now for this year, everyone who sits here, you have to leave a question for the next guest.
Yes.
And her question is, do you think a united Africa is possible?
A united Africa is possible. The problem we have is not even the Africans, it's the imperialism. And also the leaders themselves. Because some of our neighbors here feel like if we become a state that is one, just the East African region, they will lose their relevance. So the problem is not the citizens. Ukiuliza Mkenya anakwambia, I wish I could go to Tanzania without a passport. I wish I wouldn't have to go through a border. I wish I could buy land somewhere and live in Tanzania. But the president of that place doesn't want. Museveni wants to continue getting his country because tukienda huko tutapigania democracy, and he wants to rule us the way he wants to rule his people. So those are the weakest link. And if you want to understand, and this is something we must celebrate because it's not always doom. A young lady does a video in Nakuru about a hotel that was, a restaurant that was going down, and she was in tears and she had said she would kill herself. Are you aware that nobody cared to know what tribe she was from?
Yeah.
People just stormed her restaurant. They ate. Some offered to buy her meat. She's gotten, even she's been given cash, I think 150,000 and so on and so forth and so forth. And when you look at the people who appeared there, they are not even from her ethnic community. And when they came, sisi tunakuanga sawa until these stupid politicians come. We are okay. In fact, the people who are eating at her restaurant, if they were to come and say, my name is, they start with the second name, I think she would cry even more than she has been crying about the love that she has been shown. And this is the Kenyan spirit that we are promoting. I want to tell every Kenyan out there that what you did in Nakuru is commendable. And I want all Kenyans to continue doing what you did in Nakuru. I want you to continue waking up and saying, we will stand with fellow Kenyans because it is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Kenya is a wonderful place to be.
Superb.
Yes.
Couldn't agree more. So now I want you to leave a question for the next guest who sits on that seat.
I would like to ask the next guest who sits on this seat. When violence is meted upon opposition leaders in churches, and we have 11 reports against such violence, including against a Matatu Sacco. This is the third one that is being reported. And those Matatu Saccos are not disbarred, no punishment is taken upon them, nothing happens. What are civilians supposed to do? Should they boycott the Sacco? What are civilians supposed to do after you've known who has caused violence against you? You have reported, and it continues to be meted upon people, and nothing happens. And also they can tie that question with, what have the religious leaders done or they need to do in response to the attacks that are happening within churches every day?
Right. That's deep. That's very deep questions. I hope the person who sits there is ready for that. Fanya Mambo, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you around.
Asante sana.
We hope to see you again, obviously.
Yes.
And I don't know if you have a final
Yes.
closing remarks.
I like to say something, that this is a very big show.
Thank you
Out
very much.
of this show, Kenyans living in Germany put themselves together, showed a lot of love, and invited me to Germany. And I felt honored because most of the time, the Kenyans who are invited to speak to the international community are people who are going for the presidency.
Yeah.
I am going for MP Dagoretti South. They invited me. So my followers from Germany, thank you. God bless you. From that trip, I have seen Kenyans in the UK calling upon me. Kenyans in Canada, you know yourselves, you're on my inbox. Kenyans in the USA. And we are grateful. And we are happy to come and have these meaningful interactions with one another. We will continue holding fort around here. Sisi ndio tutashikilia emaili na tutapambana kulingana na uwezo wetu. Na nyinyi mtushikilie pande hiyo na maombi. And whatever other support you can give us, including ideas, including, by the way, all of you, just know one thing, that every message you send of encouragement, telling me, Fanya Mambo, you're doing a good job. Fanya Mambo, don't stop. Those messages of encouragement go a long way. So reach out to me, continued reaching out in the way you're reaching out, and just know, because they will tell you when you go to them that they all want to retire. Because winter inafikanga wanasema we want to retire at home. When I left Germany, it was -1. A few days ago ilikuwa imefika -9, -10, -13. There's a lady who told me she cried. Alifika kwa train station. She was asking herself, what am I doing at -10? Just because our country is in a mess? Can somebody fix our country? And she called me. So wherever you are, and you remember that conversation, just know that we are doing the best we can so that you people are able to come back and invest, because they want to retire here. Aniambia winter ya -10, mi nafanya nini kwa wenyewe? So it's not that they like it being out there. They wish their country was fixed and working and there was order. They would come here tomorrow morning.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much to our diaspora community. We love you, we appreciate you, and we are happy to keep you updated
and
on
one
what
last
is
message
happening.
they told me
That's...
to bring home. In Germany, for example, and it's happening in the bulk of Europe, anybody who had denounced their Kenyan citizenship, unajua waliko economic refugees, you're so broke, you can do anything to get a foreign passport. To become Germans, or to get the EU passport for that matter, for those who are in France, Italy, wherever, they were paying 250 euro to get a foreign passport. To get the Kenyan passport and their citizenship back, as provided for in our constitution for dual citizenship, they pay 1,000 euro. The citizenship that we acquired with our mother's milk to kinyonya, and they had to denounce it for economic reasons, wapate passport, wapate papers, so they can open a bank account, so that their employers can pay them. Hawakuwa na ubaya. They needed that at that point in time. They are now established, they want to come back. Do you know some of them have to get an invitation letter from home to come and visit Kenya? Because they are coming with a German passport, they are coming with a French passport, they are coming with an Italian passport. So the diaspora community has said that we need to tell Kenyans what they are going through. And I can't have gone to Germany and come back and not pass this message, that it costs $250 to acquire German citizenships, but it costs more than $1,000. I'm sorry, 1,000 euro, 250 euro and 1,000 euro to get back the Kenyan citizenship that you lost because you are an economic refugee.
Right.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, please do something. These are Kenyans. These are people who love home. These are people who should not be getting invitation letters to come home, because they are considered Germans. They travel with a German passport, the EU passport. So let us do something about them and for them.
All right.
Yeah.
Quite sad, but the realities of the world out there. I hope even as we keep on, everyone gets to understand what these things we do mean. But we also understand it was a hassle. But life happens. So Ministry of Foreign Affairs, over to you. Those are our brothers and sisters. I hope you can do something about it. Thank you to you who has been watching. It's been amazing having you on this episode. We'll catch you on the next one. And remember to always be kind to one another. See you on the next one.